Every day, somewhere in the United States, a report is filed about a child being sexually exploited online. Sometimes it's a parent, sometimes a teacher, sometimes a tech company flagging illegal material. And once that report is submitted, most people assume something simple: that the system takes over, that help arrives, that the child is protected. But what actually happens after a report is filed is far more complicated and far more fragile than the public is ever led to believe. In 2024 alone, millions of reports of suspected child sexual exploitation flowed into the National Reporting Center. Tens of thousands were flagged as urgent or potentially time-sensitive. Thousands involved imminent danger. And yet, many of those cases did not result in immediate action. Not because law enforcement does not care, not because investigators are indifferent, but because the system that's designed to protect children is already under strain at every step. This episode is not attacking ICAC. It is about treating ICAC as the front line and then following the trail downstream to see what happens when a larger child protection ecosystem breaks. The Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force, better known as ICAC, is administered through the Department of Justice and coordinated nationally through the Office of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention. It is not a single agency. It is a nationwide network of 61 task forces made up of thousands of federal, state, local, and tribal law enforcement partners. ICAC exists to provide investigation and forensic support, training, victim identification assistance, and coordination in cases involving online child exploitation. In a single year, ICAC task forces help conduct hundreds of thousands of investigations. Thousands of arrests follow. Tens of thousands of professionals receive specialized training. On paper, it looks like a system working at scale, but scale is not the same as capacity, and volume is not the same as protection. To understand where things go wrong, you have to understand the pipeline. Most cases begin at the CyberTipline, the centralized national intake system for reports of online child exploitation. Reports come in from the public and from electronic service providers. Some involve illegal images, some involve grooming, some involve active abuse. In 2024, the CyberTipline received tens of millions of reports worldwide. When broken down into individual incidents, the number is even higher. Every single day, dozens of reports are marked urgent. Hundreds more are flagged as potentially time-sensitive. Tens of thousands are escalated to law enforcement because a child may be in immediate danger. Those reports are then routed to ICAC task forces or other law enforcement agencies based on available location data. And this is where the first cracks appear. A significant portion of reports lack enough information to determine where the offense occurred and which agency should receive them. That delay matters, because when a report cannot be routed quickly, a child waits. Over the last decade, the number of cybertips referred to ICAC task forces has more than tripled. Resources did not triple with them. Investigators describe being overwhelmed by volume, forced to prioritize cases where harm appears more immediate than others that sit in a queue. Delayed responses carry real consequences. Evidence goes stale, devices age out, victims remain in unsafe environments longer, and investigators lose time they cannot recover. This is not just failure by individual officers. It's a capacity problem. One of the most disturbing findings in the recent years did not come from advocacy groups or outside critics. It came from the Department of Justice's own Office of Inspector General. A federal audit examining how the FBI handled tips involving hands-on sexual offenses against children found repeated failures to comply with mandatory reporting requirements. In a significant percentage of reviewed incidents, there was no evidence that required reports were made to local and state law enforcement. In many cases, there was no evidence that reports were made to Child Protective Services at all. Even when reports were made, they were often late, often incomplete, often poorly documented. In at least one documented example, delayed action coincided with alleged continued victimization over an extended period. This is not an abstract oversight problem. This is a child protection failure. Digital evidence is now central to nearly every child exploitation case. Phones, laptops, cloud storage, encrypted messaging apps. As device storage expands and encryption becomes default, forensic backlogs grow. Investigators and prosecutors have documented cases where years pass between device seizures and formal charges. During that time, victims wait. In some cases, exploitation remains undetected entirely because encryption prevents discovery. The technology intended to protect privacy also creates blind spots where abuse can persist unseen. ICAC operates under detailed standards governing oversight, supervision, and compliance. Public audits show that many task forces are doing the work, but not always documenting it correctly. Some audits found inaccurate performance reporting. Others flagged insufficient monitoring of affiliate agencies. Some identified unallowable costs charged to federal grants. These findings do not necessarily mean children were not protected, but they do mean accountability systems are uneven. And uneven accountability is where trust erodes. There is no single villain in this story. There is no dramatic collapse. There is, instead, a system strained by volume, fragmented by jurisdiction, slowed by technology, and weakened by inconsistent oversight. ICAC is often doing its job. The problem is what happens when the rest of the system cannot keep up. When a report is filed, but cannot be routed. When a referral is made, but not acted on. When a device is seized, but not processed. When a mandatory report is required, but not sent. Each failure may seem small, but together they create risk. Accountability is not about blame. It's about visibility. It's about knowing where the system breaks so it can be reinforced. Children don't get a second chance at safety. Delays are not neutral. Backlogs are not harmless. Documentation failures are not clerical errors when lives are involved. Reform does not mean dismantling ICAC. It means strengthening the ecosystem around it. It means letting them use the $60 million that they're allotted instead of just $30 million each year. Improving CyberTip quality and routing. Increasing forensic capacity. Modernizing encryption-aware investigative tools. Enforcing mandatory reporting requirements. Standardizing oversight and affiliate monitoring. Most importantly, it means aligning resources with reality, because the volume is not slowing down. The Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force program exists because society agrees on something fundamental. That children deserve protection. But belief is not enough. Systems matter. And when systems fail, even quietly, even incrementally, children are the ones who pay the price. This is not a story about bad intentions. It's a warning about fragility. And until those gaps are confronted honestly, the promise of protection will remain just that, a promise. Take care.